So a little while ago I paused my previous project and started looking for a way to better improve debugging and stuff in my projects. I was having some problems and sometimes I couldn't get enough data out. So I stumbled upon this thing called vcdMaker from Volcheck here, and basically you can see the website here. It's a way to log information coming from the serial port, and it takes it and turns it into a VCD file, which then you can actually read from GTK Wave. It comes available on a number of Linux installers and zip files, as well as a Windows installer. And there's documentation on how to use it. It's a very good product. Volcheck is really good and very responsive to email. So when you use it, you generally use a timestamp, and then you use a signal name, and then you can have E for event, or in the case of an actual signal, you have your signal and then the value of the signal, and then you can have the size of the signal up to 64-bit signal value. So as you can see here in this code, I have some constant formatting for receiving messages. I have a GateKeeper style pattern where the hardware peripheral driver expects that it's the only thing that talks to the peripheral. And in fact it does in this design, because this task is specifically for receiving messages and printing them to the serial device in a log style format. Now you'll see this in a second here. This task here is fed by this testing task, which has a number of events and a number of things that it records, such as the usage in the heap and the index in which the memory holder is using, as well as an event for the memory holder being full, an event for the memory holder being empty, and then the amount of total heap allocated and the amount that is deallocated or whatever. It's basically a tester task, and all it does is show the usefulness throughout the logging setup that I'm building. It gives me something to view so that it makes sense. So this is already running. I log with the Windows file format of carriage return and then new line. I like it because it actually looks okay when you're looking at it via the logging thing. Now PuTTY here is set up to log to a file, and I'm going to turn on my little embedded platform here, and it's going to start recording a bunch of signals. And as you can see, there's a timestamp and then the signal name and then some value or another. Now with that, you can see also that there's a couple of LEDs. So there's an LED back over here all the way on the far side here that it's kind of probably hard to see, but it is lit, I promise. It is constantly being lit because it's toggled in the idle task, so that I know that the idle task is still actually running. And then over here right next to it, you may be able to see that it's blinking. Might barely be able to see that it's blinking. That blinks every time a message gets logged to the serial console. So as you can see here, I enable the logger LED prior to getting the information for the task and then logging it out to the output. And then after I free the message memory that's in use for the message, and the message structure, as well as the signal information and stuff like that, I turn off the logger. So as you can see, that is actually blinking while it's recording. So we're just going to wait a few more minutes so that it gets some more information here before I do the rest of this. I kind of sent an email back to Volcheck because I thought I found a bug, and it turns out it's not a bug. The Linux version of a vcdMaker expects that you use new line, not carriage return new line, and the Windows version expects that you use carriage return and new line. So I sent him that information. He actually gave me a little sed script that I incorporated into a shell script, and then added the processing of the log file so that it generates the VCD file. So I'm gonna let this go here. We're almost done. Yep. Now I'm gonna quit this, and I'm gonna run this process signals. Process signals will turn the now if I do a list here, it'll turn the signals.log into signals Unix format.log, and then it also as you can see there, does verbose output on vcdMaker using millisecond as the timing, and then generates the signals VCD file from the Unix format log. Now this video is also attached to the blog entry, and you know, before I did this video, I checked and used my HP 16500C scope and logic analyzer to verify, you know, that I'm getting 1 millisecond per tick in my systic, so that this is all working. As you can see, there's a logic probe here, and then there's a scope probe here, and I've got screenshots of both the logic analyzer view as well as the scope view of the output signal for that's running from the systic timer. So now I'm going to open this up with GTK Wave, and what you can see now is that this is actually kind of cool. So when it generates this, it looks for the signal name. So I've got a logger task and I've got a tester task, and there's various signals in each one, and so I have the messages pending on the queue, and then I have the memory holder being full and the memory holder being empty, and then I got other stuff, you know, but usage is pretty useful. I like to throw the index in there for no good reason. And you'll see there's a bunch of data here, so you can change this data format to be something way more useful. You can make it have signal style, analog style signals, as well as looking at the events, and then when you do that, it becomes kind of useful. You can see some patterns here. Yeah, when I do it right, you can see some patterns. But you'll notice that, you know, obviously as the index goes up, the usage, memory usage is going to go up. And then you can see right here, if I was to zoom in here, you can see that right about here where the plateau starts is where the memory holder is full, and then the messages pending spikes up as the tester task is in a tight loop, freeing up all the malloc memory. And so those messages pile up because it's in a tight loop, and then the event that the holder is empty is triggered, and then shortly after there, the messages get sent to the the logger task, in which it goes through and sends them all to the screen, to the serial port, and then right after that, the application's idle task runs, and then you'll notice a drastic drop off of the usage of memory back down to what it was previously using, and the cycle repeats again. So while this is a test task and it's cool, you could easily use this to see about what was going on event wise, maybe by enqueuing messages coming from, say, an ISR, or if you were building a memory pool or something like that. So I encourage you to go check out vcdMaker. Thanks.